From Nashville's WSM Radio, the original home of the Grand Ole Opry, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode, we sit down with Charles Esten. Brand new single, In a Bar Somewhere. We would talk about that and feature new music from Charles. We'd also talk about the Nashville reunion show and going out on tour with Julia Cole. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Charles Esten.
Good morning, everybody. We are starting off on the right foot because Charles Esten just walked in. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm
you
here
good?
With you We're missing someone here, though, right?
I don't think so. No, we're good.
No, we're good?
We're good.
We're good?
Yeah, because Patty didn't come in with you this morning. She's come with you in the past.
Oh. He's listening somewhere.
You know he is.
There's no Cody. There's no coffee. This whole show is a lie.
This whole show's a sham. I'm out of here. I don't know what you guys are hawking, but I'm not a part of it. How's everything going? You've been busy.
It's been good, busy. It's been fantastic. I just got back from my hometown. I was raised in Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay.
And not too long ago, I got asked to be part of the 4th of July, the PBS special right there at the base of the Capitol, and got to close out that show while they shot fireworks off. And my mom was there, and my sister, and my aunts and uncles. It was really, it was special 4th for us.
So you got to be right there. Do you remember going to that when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. I remember. I mean, we had 100 different kinds. 4th of July was a big deal. The nation's capital, always has been. So I remember just either, as a young kid, I remember going into town, going out on the mall and watching it. I had an uncle with a boat, and he took us out one year on the Potomac, and it was just beautiful to watch it from the water. But then on our way home, the worst storm ever came up. I remember so clearly that my grandparents huddled together, hanging onto each other while we just came up and out of the waves, and you could hear the outboard going.
Yeah.
It got a little scary, but as a kid, it was thrilling.
You were like, this is great. Everybody else is turning green.
Yeah, so all kinds of different 4th of July, but this one was certainly special.
Maddie and Tay were part of that, too. One of the bands from my childhood, Chicago, were there.
It was unbelievable. I got to hang out with Maddie and Tay a little bit. It was so great. And, Boys to Men were there.
Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's.
Was there. I was just trying to be cool around Belinda Carlisle, and I failed miserably.
And the Muppets.
I actually only got, on my Instagram, you'll see I said I met so many people that I really love. I only got one selfie, and it was with Cookie Monster.
You know what? If there was somebody that I was going to seek out, that would be the one.
Me like selfie.
That's amazing. So when you see somebody like Belinda Carlisle, I mean, how do you react to that? Because she's touched all of our lives, and we grew up with that music, and it hits you in a certain way that you're like, oh, wow.
Well, sometimes it's so much you're at a loss. Like, I don't know the thing that I can say to you that nobody has said to you. I mean, you feel like this when you meet certain people. And so you just try to be polite and make their time around you as non-eventful and pleasant as possible.
I don't want to make this weird.
Exactly. I got to meet Paul McCartney once when I was a young guy, I was in London playing Buddy Holly. And Buddy Holly was a hero to the Beatles. The Beatles are called the Beatles because the Crickets were called the Crickets. That's why they even got that name. So Paul was celebrating Buddy's birthday, and so he came to the theater where I was playing Buddy Holly, and I got to be a part of that party. And then you meet him, and you're just like, what can I possibly say that I have your songbook. That's how I learned how to play guitar. That's how I learned to. But he doesn't have time for everybody that's true for to say that to. But I will say with him especially, he was just one of the things he's so expert at. Yeah, besides songwriting and singing and bass playing and every other musical thing, is making you feel okay about being around Paul McCartnney.
Well, and
he was expert.
I have to imagine now you're on the flip side of that when people are coming up to you and they're like, I've watched you, and I watched you from Whose Line Is It Anyway, or I've watched you on Nashville, and so you're getting the reciprocal of that.
Well, I'm not getting the reciprocal of Paul McCartney.
No,
but
you know what I'm saying?
Or Belinda Carlisle. No, I totally understand what you're saying. I just want to make clear that we're talking.
You're on the same level. You're like, no.
Yeah.
But when you see
totally
people
understand.
coming at you too, this is interesting because you've had so many different aspects of your career. When somebody's coming up to you, can you pinpoint what they're going to say first?
There's a little bit of a wheel spinning in my mind, like tick, 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 like it's going to go. Whose line is it anyway? No, this might be Nashville. No, this. And so I don't. I used to be able to guess, and now I tell you what, people they've shaken it up. There's no certain type. But lots of times what really freaks them out is when they realize that I remember once or twice I was meeting a couple parents, and their little kids where they're like 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds were just bored out of their mind while mom was meeting Deacon or or dad was meeting the Who's Line guy. And while I'm signing or taking a picture, I just leaned down and whispered in their ears, "I was the dad on Jesse." And you could just see their little minds go. Oh, so no, I never.
The
really,
dad that
really
was
know.
never there, by the way,
What's
right?
that?
The dad that was never there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not. I don't always play the best dads, Ward Cameron and Morgan Ross, but I make other dads look good. But my point is that it's just. It's very sweet. People, they equate something you've been on with a good time in their life. Whether it was so many people watched Who's Line. That's what I like, is I have a lot of shows that people watch together. Like Whose Line is it anyway? I never meet anybody that say I watched that by myself. They always say I watched that with my mom and my dad. And some of the jokes went over their head on purpose, but they grew up like that. And the same was true for Nashville, and the same has even been true for Outer Banks. Yeah. Like they didn't expect mom and dad would like it, but it was sort of came out during lockdown, so everybody sort of dug in.
It was so beautifully shot. That was the first thing that I noticed when I watched it. I'm like, my God, this makes me want to go to North Carolina. It suddenly
occurred to me, why does anybody shoot anywhere but on a beach at sunset with these beautiful young? I mean, this is perfect, and you're right, it's golden and gorgeous, and just the friendship between those characters in those paradises with that bad guy chasing them. It was just a lot of fun.
So we were huge fans of Nashville, and then my wife got hooked on Outer Banks a little behind, so she was binge watching, right? So she was up to near the end of season 2, and I walked into the bedroom one time, and the look on her face, she was just like stunned, and like I thought something had truly happened, like a family member, and I go, "What is wrong, babe?" She goes, "They just blew up Charles Esten." And I'm like, "Well, babe, he just was in studio with us to talk about season 3. He's gonna be okay." But that's verbatim conversation.
that was a big scene in season 2. You know, as an actor, a young actor, and a young musician, you're always waiting till you finally blow up. But I didn't mean that way.
But you talked about the loyalty of fans and watching together. Look how fast that reunion show sold out at the Ryman. I mean, it was like within hours, almost every seat was gone, right?
It was so cool. This Nashville reunion tour that we get to do, we're going to do a show in Chicago on the 21st. Before that, but then we come here for a Ryman show that just, like you said, sold out so instantly, and that means, first of all, to get to do this with my friends Claire Bowen and Jonathan Jackson and Sam Palladio, and Chris Carmack will be with us in Chicago. But to do it there, as you well know, we finished on the stage of the Ryman Auditorium. In a weird way, we started there. Before we even started shooting, they had us on stage for like a little dinner party, and we just had some food, and I think they might have showed a little bit of the screening. We all played a couple songs in a very quiet, private way. But then the very last scene of the show is Deacon standing on stage, finally being in that center light. He'd been backing up Raina for so long, and he was found his way out of that darkness and looked like he might have a life. So I got to stand on that stage and sing my favorite song from the show, A Life That's Good. And then the whole cast gathers around, and then cast members you haven't seen in a couple seasons. And then Raina herself walks out, and then the crew comes out and producers. So the whole family of Nashville finished on that Ryman stage. And that means everything to me, because that place, man, it's, it's the mother. I'm wearing a hat right now. I'm wearing my Ryman hat as we speak. I did not plan this, but I know that I'll be showing that to my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and I'll go, "Yes, Granddad, we've seen the video. We know what happened." But it means everything. So to go back there and play is huge.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned Chicago because the Ryman's already sold out. Chicago, there were just a couple tickets left when we did the Opry together last time. Is it sold out now?
Yeah, I think
close.
There still are a couple in Chicago at the Rosemont. Yeah, just go online, check my socials, and you'll see, or charlesesten.com or something like that. You'll see all the places we're going to be.
And then Europe.
Yes, exactly. In October, we head back to the UK, and we were kind of blown away back then.
I can carry a guitar. You guys need any help? I can carry 2. As a matter of fact,
you can carry 2 guitars.
Yeah, at the same time. If you need help, like a roadie or anything like that.
I didn't know
I'm
you
good
had
with
so many
coffee.
skills.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, you're not that great with coffee because I don't see any anywhere.
It's a true story.
Okay, well, my skills are diminishing rapidly.
we will consider it though. We have your application.
Please do.
Yeah. But we're gonna have a ball
passport?
going back.
You got the passport up today?
I'll get one.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, it's going to be amazing to see all of you together. And I know there's that camaraderie when you get together. How long does it take you to kind of snap in to
no time at all.
No time.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have that camaraderie when you're in a. I guess not every show gets. I've been pretty blessed with the shows I've been on that we all get along so well. Whether it was Who's Line or, of course, I had a small role in The Office, but they were bonded like a family.
Oh, yeah.
Nashville was definitely a family. But I think as an actor, you can really bond with somebody. But then, when you sing with them, there's sort of a real intertwining and a meshing. It just, right up, whether it's the duets I've done with Claire Bowen when she played Scarlett, those kind of things, they just sort of next level bond you. And certainly when you tour with somebody, that's if you can stand them after that. So yeah, these are my dear friends, and we get to go make this music we love so much again.
Okay, so tell me about In a Bar Sometimes.
In a Bar Somewhere is my latest single, and it's just one that, well, I just had this image of, I think very filmically sometimes as a songwriter, and all my favorite songwriters do. Elvis Costello, the Beatles, where you try to create this scene. So I was just thinking about that, a guy and a girl that it was perfect for a while. And where was it perfect? It was perfect in a bar somewhere. And now that bar's not even there anymore, and they're not together anymore. But in your mind's eye, you can go back and go, right now in a bar somewhere, we're drinking and laughing, not thinking about what's going to happen. We're still dancing right there. And that song just came out of that. One cool thing about it is I wrote this not only on Zoom, but I was in Barbados shooting a little show called
It's a
Outer
tough
Banks.
life. It's a tough life for you. I'm telling you.
Somebody has to do it.
Yeah,
Back to the coal
yeah.
mine. No, but so while all this, we were actually still locked down in quarantine over there. So I said, let's stay busy, and I got a Zoom right and wrote one of my favorite songs that I've ever written over there, and really just love getting to play this one. So it's great.
In a bar somewhere.
Yeah, in a bar somewhere. Yeah.
All right, we're playing it right now. It's Charles Esten. You're hearing it on WSM and watching on Circle Television all around the world.
In a bar somewhere, the where we met story of you and me had all the makings of a meant to be, hanging like smoke in the air.
We're talking with Charles Esten, who has played the Grand Ole Opry over 168 times. Is that where we are?
162.
162.
Yeah.
I was close. Okay.
You will not move on to the bonus round, but
Okay.
we have some party
You
gifts.
overbid.
Thank you. $1, Bob. Okay, so 162 times. Do you remember the first?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I do. Yes, I was.
Some people
very,
blank.
very-
Some people just are like, it was a blur. I don't remember it at all.
No, it was really, really special, and I knew why I was there. I knew I was there because I got to play this guy Deacon Claiborne, and he
Yeah.
opened sort of this side door into this wonderful world. And I was so nervous because it's not lost on me. I grew up knowing what the Grand Ole Opry was. My father taught me good about country music and about what it meant. And so I sort of wish I didn't know quite as much, because in that moment I was very, very nervous. But I'll tell you, the only two things that made it work are the people around you, like Jeannie Seeley and, or little Jimmy Dickens. They made me feel welcome. And I'm like, if they make me feel welcome, then I can't, who's to gainsay that? So I just sort of tried to sit into it a little bit. The second thing was one of the first songs I played was Act Naturally, the Buck Owens one.
Oh, yeah.
Because I knew that's why I was there. They're going to put me in the movies. They're going to make a big star. They're going to play a show about a man that's sad and lonely.
Yeah.
And all I got to do is act naturally. So I thought that was about as Deacon as it can get. And it felt like me saying to the audience, I get it a little bit. But
It's a wink.
oh, yeah. I still can't believe there's been 161 since that one. That blows my mind.
So awesome just to see you on stage. And then, somebody, if they're not available, you're like the first call. They go straight to you. If somebody has to call out, they're like, hey, let's see if Charles is in town. Just come on in.
Yeah, I feel like I'm his stalker. I was with him Friday night, now Sunday
I'm
night,
your
now
stalker.
on
This is
Monday
your show.
morning.
We kept bumping into each other. What's up, bud? Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? We want to let everybody know the 23rd you're going to be in Chicago.
Yes, exactly.
I love the fact that Patty's listening and she's like, no, you said the date wrong. It's not the 21st.
Yeah, my Well,
23rd.
she's got my back in every
Yes, she
single way.
does.
We're going to be in Chicago on, of course, the 23rd, and at the Rosemont Theater
Yeah.
there. So there's still some tickets there. If you want to come see your Nashville friends, come check it out.
And then you're hanging out with Julia Cole. You guys are going on tour together.
Yeah, Julia is my bud, and we recorded a song that I came in here, we did together called Worst Day, which is one of these songs that's just
Such a
so
great song.
cool. It just keeps going on all the streaming platforms, and we thought, let's get out and do some shows there. So we're going to be down in Florida in July, and Dothan, Alabama. We're going to be in Fort Myers
Yeah.
and Palm City Beach, and
You
what
got
else have we got?
Dothan, Alabama on the 21st, but before that, you're in Sanford, Sarasota, Fort Myers, PCB. Love PCB. It's going to be
It's my
rocking.
first
That's on the
time.
20th.
Yeah. Here we go.
Don't get a tattoo, but it's going to be a fun time. Everybody down there is.
I'm going to come back and like, look at you. You
Look
got
at
a
you.
tattoo.
Is it a
I
dolphin jumping over a sunset? It is, right? On the small of your back.
Well, and the cool part about that one is it's kind of growing organically. Like 2.5 million streams already on Spotify. Never mind Apple Music or anywhere else you might find it. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's great. You know?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you can never know. All I know is I went and met her for the first time with my friend Fred Wilhelm, and Fred had this idea. I think he had the first verse and the first chorus, which is always a lovely thing. And we just both got it immediately. And of course, the new way of writing now is we had a producer right there with us, and he was making this happen as we went. So by the time we were done writing it, he's like, "All right, it's time to sing it." And Josh hands the mic to
wow.
Julia, and Julia and what you hear on the recording is her sitting in a chair just belting out this great part. So
That's
it sort of
amazing.
blew my mind. Yeah, and then she hands the mic to me. I'm like, oh, here we go. Me.
Get ready for it.
Trying to wake this old boys up.
It's always a pleasure to have you in here. Charles Esten, everybody, check it out. You can go to his website, get tickets, go see he and Julia Cole. They're going to be touring all around Florida. Before that, just a few tickets left to the Rosemont. You can see the Nashville Reunion Tour that's happening on the 23rd of September.
Hold on, do what I gotta do. Baby, the best day alone can't be the worst day with you. The worst day with you. The worst day with you.
Thanks for listening to the Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a 5-star review. This podcast was produced through the facilities of WSM Radio in Nashville, Tennessee. The hosts of Coffee, Country, and Cody are Bill Cody, Charlie Matos, and Kelly Sutton. Producer Eric Markham. WSM General Manager and Director of Content and Programming, J. Patrick Tittle. Copyright 2023. Opry Entertainment Group Holdings, LLC.